Everybody knows one of the biggest keys to healing anything in life, to having the life of your dreams, to being healthy, to feeling fulfilled, is to love yourself. Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today we are going to talk about how to actually love yourself. And we're going to focus on those life-changing habits that you can create that are actually going to work. So if you're interested in this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. And let's talk about this today, because it is truly one of the most important things that you will ever learn to do. I know it was for me. Now, I always thought that I had a good relationship with myself. I thought that I knew how to love myself. I thought that I just did love myself. But I didn't realize how hard I was on myself. How judgmental, how critical, how mean actually. I pushed myself beyond my limits. I beat myself up when I failed. I said a lot of things that weren't nice. I said things that were hurtful to myself. I didn't celebrate myself. I never celebrated my wins. I only ever judged and criticized all my losses. I truly focused on the bad rather than the good. And part of me thought this was loving. It was loving to motivate myself or to push myself or to tell myself the harsh truths. I thought this was an act of self-love. And I didn't really realize that I was actually treating the one person who I thought I loved the most, which was myself. Actually, I was placing myself at the bottom of my own priority list. I was treating myself the harshest, the worst. I was being the most self-critical. I was hardest on myself. I did not forgive myself easily. I didn't have a lot of kind things to say to myself. And I didn't really even know this. I actually thought I was loving myself, because when someone would ask me, do you love yourself? I would say, yes, absolutely. Of course I love myself. I thought I loved myself. But my actions and my words and my thoughts and my feelings and emotions said otherwise. It can be really hard to act loving to ourselves when we feel like we're failing or when we're not meeting our own expectations. When you're suffering with chronic illness, or when you're not living up to your own dreams and expectations that you have for yourself, you can tend to be the hardest on yourself. The problem is that's when you need the absolute most love. So then how do we give ourselves and show ourselves and actually give ourselves this self-love that we need? Because all human beings need love. We need love, and we seek it from others. We seek it from our partners. We seek it from our families, our parents, our children. We seek it from our friends. We seek it from online communities. We seek it from anybody and everybody outside of ourselves. Humans are always seeking belonging, acceptance, connection. They're always seeking these things. We all desire self-love at the deepest core of our being. And so what is self-love? I used to think self-love was self-care, right? Doing all those physical self-care things for yourself. And although that's part of it, true self-love goes much deeper than self-care. Self-love is not only about self-care, but it's about self-kindness. It's about self-compassion. It's about self-forgiveness. It's about unconditional presence and unconditional acceptance, unconditional belonging. And because it's about all of these deep things, one of the first things that you need to do in order to truly love yourself is know yourself. So knowing who you truly are, knowing the real self, the true self, the truest part of yourself, right? The soul part of yourself. We need to connect to who you really are, because you're not your false identity and your ego. You're not just a mom or a daughter or your job or whatever. You are so much more than that. And so knowing yourself, the more you can know yourself, the more you can love yourself. So one of the first daily self-love practices that I would suggest is getting present with yourself, getting to know yourself. Now you can do this in a formal meditation or just sitting in stillness or in nature with yourself. This is where you just get still. You stop for a moment and maybe you place a gentle, loving touch, a gentle hand on your heart. And you ask yourself questions like, what do you want today? What do you need? What do you want to do? What are you worried about? What do you want to say? And then you just listen. You truly listen to what your heart, what your thoughts, what your mind, what your emotions are telling you. And this is a true form of self-love, is to ask what's going on with you and then to listen, to reflect, and just to be there like you would a really good friend. How are you feeling today? And then you would sit and you would listen. You would just be there. Just be this presencing witness to their life. That's what you can do for yourself, right? Get to know yourself. And the only way you can do that is through a moment of silence, is through getting silent, really stopping to listen to the answers. That's how you get to know who it is that you are. This is a true act of self-love. And once I started engaging in this kind of a relationship with myself, this deep wanting to know who I was relationship with myself, I really felt that self-love growing for myself. I really felt the bond and the connection deepening. The other thing that you can do to deeply love yourself is to forgive yourself fully. Now, this is a hard one, and this doesn't always come naturally or first. Sometimes this takes a lot of effort and work. Believe it or not, we're all holding on to a lot of deep judgments, criticisms, guilt, shame, regrets, because we haven't lived up to our own internal hopes, dreams, or expectations for ourselves in some way. We have let ourselves down in some way. We have not been true to ourselves in some way. We've broken promises to ourselves. We've let ourselves off the hook. We've expected less of ourselves. We've done something or said something or been a part of something that deep down we know didn't align with our highest good or our highest nature. We've acted in ways that were not self-loving. And so we have a lot of areas in our life that we hold ourselves responsible and accountable through guilt and shame and regret. And we even have disdain for ourselves, or we self-punish in some ways, sometimes by withholding our own love from ourselves, and especially our own forgiveness. We must learn to forgive ourselves completely in order to heal, in order to be able to truly love ourselves. Just like if you're in a relationship with a partner or a spouse or your parent or a child or a close friend who lets you down in some way, there has to be a willingness to open, to forgive, and truly move past it in order to keep that relationship strong and vital. Now we're holding a lot of resentments and a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and a lot of regret and a lot of anger, a lot of disdain, a lot of disgust for ourselves. And the most self-loving thing that you can do is every day engage in a self-forgiveness act, where you sit down and ask yourself, what do I have regrets about? What am I holding resentments about? What am I still criticizing myself for? What am I still judging myself for? What do I still carry shame over? What am I still angry with myself about? And even if you can find one thing every day, whether it's big or whether it's small, that you're still holding against yourself, and forgive it. And you need to place your hand on your heart and say the words, I forgive you, I love you, it's over. It's over now. I choose to let this go now. Forgiveness isn't always just a feeling, it's a choice. And so we must choose out loud To ourselves, hand to heart, I choose to forgive you. I forgive you because I love you. And I choose to let this go. I choose to let you off the hook now. I no longer want to hold this against you or weaponize this against you or withhold this against you, because if I do, I am withholding love from myself. And so whenever you find yourself or catch yourself being hard on yourself, whenever you ask yourself the question, if there's one little thing, something from the past, something in the present, anything at all that you need forgiveness for, hand to heart, say it, and deeply internally choose it. This may not always work the first time. You may have to do this over and over. You may have to forgive yourself for the same thing over and over, but it's a choice every time we come back to this feeling, this shame, this guilt, this regret, this self-anger, this self-criticism, this self-judgment. Every time we come back to this moment, we make a choice again and again and again to love ourselves, forgive ourselves, and let it go. To let ourselves off the hook, to free ourselves from holding this against ourselves any longer. And we allow the love that we have for ourselves to flow in deeply. The next thing that seems obvious but isn't is actually saying the words, I love you, to yourself. How often do you stop and say, I love you? I love you, Lisa. I love you. I love you so much. I love you unconditionally. You're important to me. I value you. I'm here for you always. I will never leave you. You don't have to do anything to earn my love. I just love you because you're you. Now you can say these words out loud to yourself. You can actually speak them. You can sit in front of a mirror every morning for 5 minutes and look in the mirror, look into your eyes deeply and say the words. Or you can sit in meditation, put your hand to your heart and say the words. I love you. I love you so much. You're so important to me. I value you deeply. I'll always be here for you. I accept you. Saying the words out loud, either internally with your hand to heart or in a mirror, looking deeply into your own eyes, which are deeply connected to your soul. Speaking the actual words, saying those words to yourself consistently and over will make a huge difference to feeling that self-love. The other thing we can do to feel love is actually through touch. We know that someone could say to us, I love you, but when they show us they love us with a hug, when they hold us, when they gently touch us, this makes us feel. Not just we don't hear that they love us, but we feel, we sense that they love us, right? Holding your baby, soothing, cuddling, that close contact, that personal touch, it's very important. So you can every day engage in self-hug. Just cross your arms. Just rub your arms up and down. You can gently rub your forehead the way you know your mom might have rubbed your forehead or your hair when you were a child. You can run your hands down your arms in a gentle, loving touch, hand to heart, soothing hands to heart, gentle rubbing. These are all motions that we do to small children and to babies and to those we love. And it's important that we feel this, that we sense it in our bodies, not just hear the words. So feeling it is extremely important. That physical contact with yourself, these loving, gentle touches. I got you. I love you. I see you. I'm with you. This is going to go a long way to helping you feel that self-love. The next thing that you can do to really cultivate this self-love with yourself is to learn to love all the parts of you. So I really love parts work, and I explain that in other videos. But parts work means we all have different parts of ourselves, different sides to ourselves. And we have to learn to love the parts that we actually hate, that we resist, that we push away. that we wish we could change the most, that we reject the most in ourselves, that we deny the most about ourselves. So the pain, right? The physical pain, the emotional pain, the fear, the anger, all of the parts that are the ugliest parts of ourselves, those feelings that come up in us, the fears, the angers, the resentments, the jealousy, the envy, the pain, the suffering, all of these parts that we deny and reject and try to change and fix and push away and bury and turn away from or ignore. All of these parts make up the entirety of you, and they all need love. So we must learn to love our pain, love our anger, love our resentment, love our jealousy, love our rage. Love those parts of us that feel unlovable. Love those parts of us that we want to push away and that we even hate. And this is the real hard work. And this is why we focus on inner work. This is why we really have to get in and do that inner work. It's because we need to come to the realization that there are no bad parts, that they're all serving a purpose, a reason. They all want to be seen and heard and validated, and they all need to be loved. That's what unconditional love means. You say to that child, I love you unconditionally, even when you're throwing a tantrum, even when you're biting your sister. You know, I might not be happy with the things that you're doing or saying, but I love all of you all of the time. All of these parts are part of you, and I love you unconditionally. So learning to come to the conclusion that there are no bad parts and learning to love all the parts of ourselves by listening, by acknowledging, by witnessing them, and by allowing them to be heard and seen. That is how we show them our true love. So loving yourself with acts of self-care means, really just taking time for yourself, brewing that tea, taking time to enjoy it. Instead of pushing yourself hard on your to-do lists, right? Taking a break, having that bath, taking the extra time to brush out your hair softly, slowing down, eating mindfully and chewing mindfully, putting on shows that make you happy or music that makes you happy, rubbing cream all over your body, taking time for your physical self-care routine, your morning routines, when you're eating, when you're cooking, right? Involving your senses, slowing down, and really showing small acts of kindness to yourself throughout the day, of gentle acts of kindness, by allowing yourself to stop and just experience joy. Instead of just work, 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 push, 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 it's more being in the moment, caring for yourself by giving yourself time and allowing yourself to experience joy, allowing yourself to experience simple pleasures of life, to go for that beautiful walk, to take time for yourself, to sit down, to watch a show you enjoy, to go for a walk with a friend, to do the things that you love, to participate in the hobbies and to laugh and to be light and to experience pleasure. This is a very loving act for most of us who live in a world that is driven by success and by accomplishment and by how much we can do and by pushing and striving and by really pushing joy off and pushing life off until you've accomplished or met a certain level of success, then you're not allowed to enjoy your life. That is how we withhold love from ourselves. This is not a very self-loving thing to do, is to push your own pleasure and joy off until you meet some arbitrary social or personal goals or accomplishments or successes. Sure, that works to motivate you and to push you forward and to help you create what it is that you want. But by always being hard on yourself, moving fast, and denying yourself pleasure and joy in each and every single moment and allowing yourself time to just be, to enjoy, and to live, It's a very self-hating thing to do, to push yourself that hard without allowing yourself to experience time and joy and pleasure and just being mindful in the moment and allowing your senses to enjoy this slow, simple pace of life that you were meant to live. So remembering all day long to just allow yourself to find this simple joy in the moment, to be in the moment, to allow yourself pleasure, allow yourself joy, and allow yourself to be here now. That is one of the most loving things that you can do. And it starts with just simple acts of kindness to yourself throughout the day, remembering that you matter, remembering that pleasure and joy matters, remembering to stop and actually be here and live now and experience with all of your senses right here and right now that matters, and that's so loving. And then the last thing that you can do to really cultivate this deep self-love for yourself is to really understand the law of one, which is we are all one. We are all connected to the source, to God. We are all part of the whole, right? We are all pieces that make up the whole. And we're all reflecting back a different part of the whole, which makes us all, in a sense, connected and one. So when we love others the way we love ourselves, and I mean, that is the golden rule in religion, right? Love others the way you love yourself. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. This is the golden rule because it's true. Loving others, seeing yourself reflected in everyone and everything, giving everybody else love, giving everybody else kindness, doing things for other people, kindness, compassion, forgiving them, giving love freely, giving forgiveness freely, doing kind, special things for others to show them that they matter. What you do for others is what you get back because we are all one. So understanding that what you give out is what you receive back. And so we don't need to hoard all this love for ourselves. We give it away. Everything that we love, everything that we do that's kind and compassionate and gentle and loving for others is actually giving it back to ourselves. Now, some people think or feel that giving and giving away everything will deplete them, but it only depletes you if you're doing it from a place of resentment, or you're doing it from a place of guilt or shame, or you're doing it from a place of you have to instead of you want to. But when you're doing it just because you want to give, because you truly love the other person and want to do this for them, you want to make them feel special, you want to give to someone in some way, you want to forgive, you want to show compassion, love, forgiveness, you want to do something kind, you want to give someone a hug, touch them, tell them you love them, whatever and however it is, it's coming from the truest part of yourself. It's coming from your true self. So when giving love is coming from your highest self, you can never deplete yourself, because in giving, you are receiving. When we're giving to others and we're finding ourselves depleted, it's because we are giving and we don't want to be. We feel that people are taking more than we can give. We're putting stress and strain on ourselves. We're taking on more burden on our own shoulders and on ourselves in order to please others or to gain acceptance or to get something back from them. That's not true love. But when we unconditionally love, give away love and kindness and compassion and forgiveness from our truest parts of ourselves, we can never be depleted, because this is the law of one. We are all one. What we give, we get back. We are all pieces and part of the whole. And everyone is a mirror to us. It's simply reflecting that. So when we give freely, we receive freely. So loving others as yourself, right? Giving in order to receive, remembering the law of one. We can find love everywhere. We can give love every day. We can receive love from everything and everyone if we open. we receive. And then finally, we must learn to find deep peace inside ourselves. This is when it comes to letting go practices. Finding deep peace means letting go of anything that gets in the way of aligning with your true self, of anything that doesn't serve you, of anything that doesn't serve your highest good, of anything that isn't self-loving. We let go of anything and every single thing that isn't aligning or serving our highest good, our highest, most truest self. That's how we practice this inner peace. We can feel this deep inner peace when we let go of anything that no longer serves us. It doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve our highest good. And when we don't serve our highest good, we're not loving ourselves. So when we let go of everything getting in the way, then we feel deep peace within ourselves. And this is so loving. This is the ultimate act of self-love. If it doesn't serve your highest self, it isn't loving, because your highest self is love. It is God. It is acting on the frequency of love. And so when we let go of everything that isn't serving love, that isn't showing ourselves love, that isn't giving love to the world or to others, that isn't full of love, then we are filling and flooding ourselves with self-love. And so I truly hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you receive value from it, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really goes a long way to helping this channel. If you want to learn more about how you can work with me or take my program, Become Your Own Healer, you can check the links below. I want to thank you for spending your valuable time with me today. I am wishing you all true self-love and the highest vibration of love today. And I will see you in the next video.